Hello and welcome back. My name is Crystal Sage, and this space is devoted to understanding and interrupting repeating relational patterns. If you've ever found yourself asking, why is it so hard to leave this relationship, even when you know something isn't working, then this conversation is for you. Today, we're going to explore something many people experience but rarely understand: why some relationships feel almost impossible to leave. Before we begin, let's take a brief moment to ground in. If it feels comfortable, I want you to take a slow breath through your nose and gently exhale through your mouth, allowing your shoulders to soften and allowing your body to settle wherever you are. You don't need to force anything. Just notice your breath for a moment. And when you're ready, we can begin. So, one of the most confusing experiences people have in relationships is this. You may clearly see the problems. You may even recognize unhealthy patterns, and yet leaving still feels incredibly difficult. Sometimes people describe this as feeling stuck. Others say it feels like a magnetic pull they cannot fully explain. And many people wonder if something deeper is happening. The truth is, in many cases, the difficulty in leaving a relationship is not simply about love, commitment, or even logic. Very often, it's connected to something happening within the nervous system. When we form close relationships, our nervous systems begin to interact with each other, and over time, patterns develop. Certain conversations trigger emotional reactions. Certain behaviors create feelings of safety, fear, hope, or anxiety. And eventually, the relationship can begin to operate in repeating emotional cycles. For example, there may be a period of closeness. The tension begins to build. An argument or emotional activation occurs, followed by reconciliation or temporary relief. This cycle can repeat again and again. The important thing to understand is that the nervous system can become familiar with this pattern, even if it's uncomfortable. Human beings often confuse familiarity with safety. So, if someone grew up in environments where emotional tension or unpredictability was present, the nervous system may recognize similar patterns later in adult relationships. Not because the relationship is healthy, but because the pattern is familiar. And familiarity can create a powerful sense of attachment. This is one reason why leaving certain relationships can feel disorienting. Your mind may understand the situation, but your nervous system is still responding to the pattern. Another factor that can make relationships difficult to leave is emotional intensity. Relationships that include strong emotional highs and lows often create powerful reinforcement cycles. Moments of connections feel extremely meaningful. Moments of conflict feel extremely painful, and the nervous system can become conditioned to this emotional intensity. This does not mean the relationship is necessarily healthy, but it does mean the nervous system has become engaged in a pattern that can take time and awareness to interrupt. If this resonates with you, you might gently ask yourself, have I ever remained in a relationship that I logically knew was difficult, but emotionally struggled to step away from? Are there repeating emotional cycles that appear in my relationships? What happens in my body when conflict arises in close relationships? These questions are not about judgment. They are simply about awareness. Awareness is the first step towards change. In relational pattern work, we begin by observing these cycles rather than immediately trying to fix them. When people begin to understand the pattern, the emotional activation, the nervous system responses, the moments where reactions occur, they often discover that the relationship's dynamic becomes much clearer. And clarity creates the possibility for different choices. This is not something that happens overnight, but awareness creates space, and space allows new responses to emerge. If you're interested in exploring these relational patterns more deeply, the Relational Pattern Breakthrough program is designed to guide individuals and partners through a structured 6-month process of awareness, regulation, and pattern interruption. And if that feels relevant to you, you can find the application link in the video description. Thank you for spending your time here. This conversation and conversations like this are not about blaming ourselves or others. They are about learning to observe the relational patterns that shape our lives. And as awareness grows, the possibility for new relational experiences begin to open. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next session.